fifth day of Trump's temper tantrum. Where are his ignorant, savage base? Why aren't they saying, yeah, but you said Mexico would pay for it. You made us say Mexico, Mexico, Mexico so many times. Yeah, where are they? Assholes. Trump has demanded that Congress approve that $5 billion for a fucking wall. This is almost incomprehensible as much as this country needs right now in terms of infrastructure. Remember that? You're going to have the most beautiful infrastructure you can imagine. It'll be beautiful infrastructure. Everything will be shiny and glow at night and shit. Remember all that? Do you know what $5 billion in funding for constructing a wall, what that would do? It would clear up just about 95% of the problems facing public education in this country. You know, to get rid of the other 5%, fire that goddamn Betsy DeVos. And watch her brother become Trump's new nominee for Secretary of Defense. You just watch. Of course, he'll never get through the Senate. He'll never get through confirmation. No, not him. Anyway, about a fourth of the federal government has been shut down, with about 800,000 federal workers affected during this holiday season, the baby Jesus season. 'Tis a season to be jolly. Oh, come all ye faithful. Yee. So the 800,000 workers do not have, or did not have, since Christmas was yesterday, the kind of money that they normally would spend in a feverish assault on the nation's retail outlets in order to celebrate baby Jesus. Yeah, 800,000, huh? National parks across the country have been closed. The IRS planned to close taxpayer assistance lines the first of the year when people start, oh God, I better get my taxes in. Too tough. Trump one should be like him, a lying, cheating son of a bitch. Of course, he can afford tax attorneys. Can you? And yesterday, with his New Year's Eve message, this goddamn criminal, this gangster in the White House, said he couldn't predict when the government would reopen. He said, quote, I can tell you it's not going to be open until we have a wall, a fence, whatever they like to call it. Is that Trump weakening his argument for a wall when he called it a fence or a whatever? No, it's not. That's just how he talks. He says, but it's all the same thing. It's a barrier from people pouring into our country. No, it isn't. And it never will be. An aide to Pelosi, the new incoming House Majority Leader, said, no, there's no updates on the status of negotiations. Supposedly, they all go back to work tomorrow, Thursday, I think. And there's supposed to be some sort of negotiations in the offing. But as Trump said, I'll have my $5 billion. I'm not signing. I'll take my dollies and marbles and go home. Jesus Christ. On January 3rd, the Dems take control of the House, of course. And they're expected to quickly pass a bill that would fund the government without funding the wall. And it's not clear if that measure passes the Senate, but it's beginning to look like it would. Of course, then it has to face the crybaby in chief, this big ugly fucker who with the red tie. I won't sign it. Now, the urgency to complete a deal has been amplified during this sell-off. in the stock market. It's Wednesday afternoon at about 6:30, and the stock market's closed. But I understand it gained, last time I looked at television, it was up about 1,100 points, trying to get some of the loss back. And of course, Democrats point to the obvious, that Oval Office meeting earlier this month, the Chuck and Nancy and Donnie show, where Trump said he would take credit for shutting down the government. Jim Manley, who served as an aide to former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, said Democratic lawmakers feel little pressure to help him out of a crisis that he caused. Manley said, quote, "It took a while for some Democrats to learn that Trump has no fixed views, and if he says he'll be up for something one day, he'll be against it in 24 hours. Democrats see a weak president who has boxed himself in so badly, it's difficult to see how he'll get himself out of it without caving. He has no off-ramp to get him out of this predicament," end quote. But that's Trump. That's Trump. He, left to his own devices, he's one of those people who is self-destructive from the moment he wakes up in the morning. But because he's always had a large cash flow and other people to fuck over and lie to and screw and get money from, like the Russians, he always manages to weasel his way out of things. Probably not this time. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. You have your choice. You can listen to the ranting with the audio podcast or listen and watch me lose control with a video podcast subscription. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.